Welcome to Cory Turner Talks Cars, the podcast. This is a podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube or watching the video, I'm giving you a little sneak peek behind the scenes here as we're filming or doing today's podcast. So thank you for watching there and subscribing. I appreciate that. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you so much for being part of our podcast. It is the new part of the show that we are doing. I think we have this week podcast number 12. So we're actually super excited about that. So if you want to see more, hear more of our podcast, just go to CoryTurnerTalks.com and click on podcast. I know today's show is going to result in me getting a lot of comments from a lot of my viewers, a lot of my friends, when it comes to the fact that the topic of today's show is the Chrysler PT Cruiser. Now, I'm not going to get in trouble because I'm talking about the PT Cruiser. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I like the PT Cruiser. I don't know what it is about the PT Cruiser, but I've always enjoyed the design, the shape of this car. And I realize that is not a popular opinion at all. And here in a moment, I'm going to tell you about one that I have found, and I am literally this close to buying this 2005 Chrysler PT Cruiser 2.4 liter turbo convertible that I found, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, and we'll kind of go through and talk about what I found on that. But there's something about the PT Cruiser that when I see it, whether it's the hardtop, whether it's the convertible, I just like these cars. Now, when they came out, they were super popular, right? They sold a ton of these bad boys. And the PT Cruiser was right at the very beginning of that retro design feel. When we were looking at designing cars that had a retro feel, right? We had the PT Cruiser, we had the Prowler, even the Mustang and cars like that started taking on a retro feel and gave us that nostalgia feel of cars from yesteryears. And of course, the PT Cruiser absolutely did that. Kind of see it as a panel van, if you will. And so when it came out, I liked it then. And then when everybody turned on it and hated it, because there are some haters of the PT Cruiser, and everybody has their opinions. I have no problem with that. Definitely have some haters out there. I continued to like it, and to this day, I still like it. As a matter of fact, I was walking through our neighborhood here during COVID and social distancing and working from home. Was taking the dog on a walk and was walking along, and there was a tan PT Cruiser hardtop, and I was in a young girl was getting out. She had just driven up to her house. I guess had parked it out front. I said, "I love your PT Cruiser," and she just looked at me like, "What?" Like I was speaking a foreign language. Then she looked at her car and she smiled and said, "Oh, thank you, me too." It was so I knew right away. She doesn't get that very often. It's either one of those cars you don't think about, or if someone does talk about it, it's usually not in the most positive of ways. So I thought, that was funny. But I like the PT Cruiser. And you know me, if you followed me for any period of time, I like bizarre, strange, weird cars. Remember, I've had the smart car. I've had a lot of different cars. Not always the big, popular, exotic cars, just whatever caught my eye. And the Plymouth Prowler actually did catch my eye. I had a buddy that owned one. I used to work with him, and he had a PT Cruiser, and I thought, man, that thing is cool. I always like the purple ones. Can't seem to find a purple one out there. So when I go, as you know, every night, I go online and I look at used cars. As a matter of fact, I was looking for a Camaro, an earlier, like a 2000 Camaro, and I found a site, a classified site online. It's actually from a dealership that's up in Plano, and they had a 2005 Chrysler PT Cruiser. It's a touring edition, and it's tan, and I thought, you know what? I like this car. Now, they've got it priced right now for $3,900. It has 132,870 miles on it. It's tan. Of course, it's automatic. It's the 2.4 liter. And I thought, you know what? Let's take us a peek at this bad boy right here. So I wanted to show you or at least talk about this car on this podcast. So this one is a silver or a tan PT Cruiser. It has the black convertible top. Now the car is not perfect. We're talking $3,900, and there is definitely some wear and tear on the body. As a matter of fact, it looks like the entire front bumper has been off of the car at some point, or those gaps are really huge. And the fit and finish on a PT Cruiser wasn't as bad as some of the pictures that I'm seeing. So I know there's some issues with that. In fact, on one side, you can almost see like, it's not Scotch tape, but it's some kind of tape. It's not duct tape. They didn't do duct tape, but some kind of tape to keep that bumper attached. And even the tape even goes across to the front of the car, like the headlights of the car, which is kind of crazy there. I'm going to switch over here so you guys can actually see what I am seeing. So there, now you can see with me if you're watching this. So right in here, they're right in that front where the front bumper comes up, the front of the car comes up to the main body. There's definitely some larger gaps, and they should be, and you can tell they use some tape to cross that and keep that crossed. So it's like, and there's also some body places where you can tell the car's had some love and has had some damage there. I do like the front of these cars. I like that grille, that big, deep grille. It has the front bumper that comes across and cuts across that front grille. And I like the shape. It has I call it the half moon kind of hood that kind of comes down and makes that nice curve with that Chrysler emblem right in the middle with the flying wings. I think it's a sharp car. Now, I am not necessarily thrilled with what I'm just going to call it the roll bar that's across the car. It's not necessarily my favorite. I like a convertible that has clean lines. My smart car had that. You could take some elements off, but it still had that bar as well. The PT Cruiser has that bar. It's very, you can't hide it. It is absolutely there. And of course it has the rigidity to the car. I don't think the car would have done well without that. I don't know how much bracing you could have done to the underpin or what you'd have had to add to give the car the rigidity. The convertible, it needs that rigidity. When you cut the top off of something and you lose that connection, then that car has that chins to give and to bend. And so I know that's why that's there. Plus safety, if the car was to roll over, you would have that. So I'm not saying it's a deal breaker, but it's not my favorite design element of the PT Cruiser. I wish they could have done something that would have just continued that straight line all the way back. I think that would have been really, really nice. Like I said, this one is the 2.4 liter turbo that I found. The wheels are scratched up, the bumpers are scratched up. The interior looks like it's in pretty decent shape to me. The bucket seats look fine. The dashboard looks like it's in pretty good shape. It has the shift knob with the white shift knob, which I think is pretty funny. Like I said, this one has 132,885 miles. This one comes with a CD player, cassette as well, right? We are going back to 2005. Not only did you get a cassette player, but you got a CD player. In my current car, I don't even have a CD player. Everything is Bluetooth and done that way, so that's kind of funny. So I thought that was pretty cool that it had that. That's really retro when you get a tape cassette player. Very straightforward climate controls. You've got 4 dials basically across the dash. That's right above the CD player, right below the main vents. On the far left is your AC and your fan speeds. Next to that is where's it going to blow out? Is it your feet? Is it your feet and your face? Is it just your face? Is it defroster? You have that. The next, then you've got temperature settings, whether it's cold or hot. And then from that, is it recirculating or are you bringing fresh air in? So that's the dash. That's pretty straightforward there. The PT Cruiser, of course, is a 4-seater. It's a little bit snug. Now, it's always been snug. I have not gotten into a convertible version of these. So like I say, with that roll bar, we're going to call it a roll bar, to get in, to get under that, and to get in. I know it would be the same as getting into a regular car, a regular PT Cruiser with the top, but it looks like it might be a little bit snug. The rear seats are snug, and this one they are cloth. They've got a little bit of wear and tear, but it doesn't look like it's too bad. Of course, power windows. Like we said, this is the 2.4 liter turbo. I think it produces 148 horsepower, I believe, is where that is. And then it's got a little bit of a trunk space. You've got the convertible top that comes down across the top, so it does take up space, but it still has a little bit of a trunk in there. I'm going to read to you what they say about this particular one. They say this one only has 132,875 miles, delivers 26 miles per gallon in 19 city. This Chrysler PT Cruiser boasts a gas 2.4 liter 148 engine powering this automatic transmission, variable intermittent windshield wipers, touring suspension, touring edition badging. This Chrysler PT Cruiser features the following options: tilt steering wheel, storage drawer under the seat, very important. All right, speed control, solar control glass, single low note horn, Century key theft deterrent system. Was that a feature? Was that an advertised feature? A single low note horn? I don't remember. But anyway, they had that on there. Century key theft deterrent system, security alarm, remote keyless entry with panic alarm, very important, with 2 transmitters, rear view mirror, reading lamp, compass, temp display, rear window defroster. It is glass in the back, which is great. And of course they have that. I'll put the links to that in the description if you're wanting to check that one out, so you can see that one more. But so here's a PT Cruiser, a 2005. It's not in the greatest shape. Like I said, it's only $3,900, $132,000, but it is the turbo. It's the touring, it's the turbo, and it is the convertible, and that's actually what, if I'm looking for one, that's absolutely what I'm looking for, and that's what I would like to see and to have. Like I say, I think they're really cool cars. I know that I may be the only one out there that does. If you like a PT Cruiser, I'd love to hear from you, because I think those are super. I just think they're sharp cars, and they're unique, and they're different, and they capture a time that, in that earlier 2000s, and where we were trying to really capture nostalgia and really capture that retro feel, and the PT Cruiser was right in the midst of that. And like I say, sold extremely well. Everybody that wanted one bought one in the first 2 years. After that, things slowed down quite a bit, but they sold a lot of them, which also means there's a lot of parts out there accessible. It is a Chrysler, so you're going to want to have some extra parts, and you're going to have somebody that can work on it. But I like the PT Cruiser. So if you have a PT Cruiser, send me a message. I want to hear about it. How is it maintenance-wise? Are you finding yourself buried in maintenance bills, or has it held up okay? We hear the horror stories, but I want to hear from the ones that are out there listening. You guys can hear that. And do you enjoy owning the car? And do people make fun of you for owning the car? People always ask me when I own the smart car, gosh, don't people make fun of you all the time? And I said, what was really weird about owning the smart car was I would pull up to a gas station, or I'd pull up somewhere, and somebody would look at me, and they'd get that look in their eye, and I'm like, oh, what are they going to say? And then they would walk up, and then they would just start asking me all these questions about it. They'd take their pictures with it. It was like an icebreaker, a big conversational piece. I don't think we're going to get that out of the PT Cruiser, but I do wonder, what are people's reaction to it, if anything, right? Maybe they don't react to it at all. And the way that girl looked when I told her she had a really cool-looking car, that's kind of the feeling I had, is that she probably didn't get that very often. So thank you for listening to our podcast. We're enjoying putting these together. I thought today, like I said, we are actually doing a video of me sitting here talking. Probably not super interesting watching me sit here and talk about the PT Cruiser. I did show some pictures there. You can watch that on YouTube. You can also find the links from Facebook and Instagram. If you are playing our $100 Amazon gift card giveaway, and this is special for this month from June 8th to June 30th. Every video or podcast that we put out is going to have a secret car of the day. So all you have to do is listen for it. When you hear it, you just go to CoryTurnerTalks.com. You click on Contact Us. Fill out your information. What's very important is in the message, you have to write in the secret car of the day. Today we'll make it the PT Cruiser. So good luck on that. Be sure to enter there and win. Thank you for liking, commenting, and sharing, listening to the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. It comes out only once a week. It's just on Saturdays. It gives you updates on the shows we're doing, the podcasts that we're doing, as well as gives you stats on the YouTube channel. If you like to see behind the curtain, how many views do we get, and how many new subscribers did we get, and average length, and all those kind of things, we put all that on our newsletter because we love to let you help us grow and enjoy the process of growing this channel together. So thank you so much, and let's talk about cars tomorrow.